Hey guys, tonight we're traveling to ancient Greece, but we're not going to be strolling through the marble halls of the Parthenon or listening to philosophers debate the nature of the good life in the marketplace of Athens. No, we're going somewhere much harsher, a place of iron discipline, relentless training, and profound, state-sponsored brutality. We are going to Sparta. We're going to step into the life of a Spartan boy and experience firsthand the most intense and unforgiving state-controlled education system the ancient world ever conceived the Agog. This is a journey that begins not on your first day of school, but on your first day of life. A path designed for one purpose and one purpose only, to forge you into the perfect gear for the great Spartan war machine. Let's be clear. Your modern sensibilities would last about 5 minutes in ancient Sparta. You, who might worry about your child's self-esteem or their gluten sensitivity, would be horrified by a system where the first parenting decision is this baby physically perfect enough to live? The Spartans practiced a form of tough love that makes modern tiger moms look like cuddly teddy bears. You'd fail your first physical exam, which you take when you're about a day old, and that would be the end of your story. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. It's a tiny, no-cost action for you that makes a huge difference in supporting the channel. And, as always, I love seeing where our little community of history lovers is spread across the globe. Please take a moment to post your city or country and the local time in the comments. It's always amazing to see where everyone is tuning in from. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You were born into a world of harsh sunlight and the shadow of mountains. Your first sensation is not the warm, gentle wrap of a soft blanket, but a shocking, brisk washdown. You are not washed with warm water, but with wine. A startlingly cold and alcoholic bath. This is your first test. It is a primitive, deeply held belief in your culture that the undiluted wine will cause a weak or epileptic infant to have a seizure. Revealing its underlying flaw, a strong baby will simply cry and shiver. You scream, your lungs filling with the air of Laconia for the first time. You have passed, but your survival is not yet assured. Your father does not look at you with the simple, unconditional love you might expect. He looks at you with the critical eye of an inspector. He sees not just a son, but a future soldier, a future citizen, a potential link in the great shield wall that protects Sparta, and his judgment is not the final one. He wraps you in a simple cloth and carries you from your home. You are taken through the scattered villages that make up the city of Sparta, a city famous for having no walls. Because its walls, they say, are the chests of its men. He carries you to a place called the Lesh, a covered portico where the elders of your tribe gather. These are the men of the Gerousia, the Spartan council of elders. They are old men, their faces like maps of old battles, their bodies scarred from a lifetime of war. They are the guardians of the Spartan way, and they are your first and most important judges. Your father presents you to them. You are unwrapped and laid naked for their inspection. You are perhaps a day old, a small, helpless creature, and you are being judged by a committee. The elders examine you with a cold, dispassionate scrutiny. They turn you over. They run their hands along your spine, checking for any deformity. They examine your limbs, your head, the shape of your body. They are not cooing over a cute baby. They are veterinarians inspecting livestock. They are assessing a piece of state property for its future utility. In Sparta, the first test you have to pass in life is a physical fitness exam you take when you're about an hour old. No pressure. There are only two possible outcomes of this inspection. If the elders deem you well-built and sturdy, if they see in your small form the promise of a future hoplite, strong and sound of limb, then they give a nod. You have been approved. You have earned the right to live at this moment. You are assigned your kleros, your lot. This is a parcel of state-owned agricultural land, a farmstead worked by the state-owned slaves. The helots. This land and the helots who work it will support you for your entire life, freeing you from the need to ever perform manual labor. Your sole purpose, from this day forward, is to train for war. You are returned to your father, a licensed, state-approved child. But if the elders find any flaw, if you are deemed ill-born and deformed, if you are too small, too weak, if you have a clubfoot or any other imperfection, your fate is sealed. You are judged to be a useless mouth to feed, a future burden on the state, a weak link in the phalanx. Your existence is a net loss for the collective good of Sparta, and the Spartan state was notoriously unsentimental about cutting its losses. In this case, your own father is ordered to take you away. He must carry you to the foothills of the great Mount Tegetos, the jagged mountain that looms over Sparta. There is a deep chasm there, a place called the Apothetai, literally, the place of rejection. And there, you are left. You are not thrown, not actively killed. You are simply discarded, abandoned to die of exposure, of hunger, or from the wild animals. You're short. Unapproved life ends in a cold, lonely darkness, your cries echoing unanswered in the gorge. This brutal practice of state-sponsored infanticide is perhaps the most famous and chilling aspect of Spartan society. It is the first and most powerful lesson you are not an individual. You do not belong to your parents. You are a resource belonging to the state of Sparta, and your right to exist is conditional upon your perceived usefulness to that state. Modern historians and archaeologists, it should be said, fiercely debate the reality of this practice. Plutarch, the ancient writer who gives us our most detailed account of Spartan life, is the main source for this story, but he was writing centuries after Sparta's golden age, and as a Greek writing under the Roman Empire, he may have been exaggerating Spartan cruelty for literary effect. Archaeological digs at the supposed site of the Apothetai have not uncovered the mass deposits of infant bones one would expect to find if this was a widespread, systematic practice. The debate continues: was the Apothetai a real, horrific tradition, or was it a dark myth? A piece of propaganda that the Spartans themselves might have encouraged to enhance their fearsome reputation. Perhaps exposure was more often a euphemism for giving an unwanted child away to a non-citizen, or even a helot family. But for you, as a Spartan child, the story is real. It is the foundational terror of your world. But you are one of the lucky ones. You pass the inspection. You are returned to your mother's care for the first 7 years of your life. But this is not a period of coddling or indulgence. It is the beginning of your informal training. The Spartan child-rearing philosophy is simple. What doesn't kill you makes you a more effective and emotionally detached killing machine for the state. It's a very nurturing environment. Your mother is your first drill instructor. You are taught discipline from the cradle. If you cry, you are ignored. If you are a picky eater, you go hungry. You are taught to be unafraid of the dark, to endure solitude without complaint, to speak only when spoken to, and to use as few words as possible when you do the origin of the word laconic. From your home region of Laconia, your games are not idle play, they are preparation. You are encouraged to be rough, to wrestle, to prove your strength against other boys. This entire system, this brutal indoctrination from birth, exists for one reason: fear. The Spartan state is built upon a foundation of profound existential terror. You, the Spartiates, the full citizens, are a tiny minority, perhaps numbering only a few thousand men at the height of Sparta's power. But you rule over a vast population of state-owned slaves. The helots. The helots are the descendants of the people who lived here before your ancestors conquered them. They are bound to the land, working the kleros that supports you. They outnumber you by at least 10 to 1, and they hate you with a deep, simmering, and entirely justified loathing. The threat of a Helot uprising is the central, organizing principle of your entire society. It is why you must become the most feared and disciplined warrior in Greece. Your education is not designed to make you a well-rounded man like an Athenian. It is not about philosophy or art or rhetoric. It is about survival. It is about creating a permanent, professional army of soldier citizens capable of suppressing a massive, resentful slave population at home and defeating any enemy abroad. You grow up in this atmosphere. You see the helots working in the fields around your home. You see the contempt and the casual cruelty with which your father treats them. You see the fear in your mother's eyes when she hears a strange noise at night. You learn very early that your world is divided into us and them, and that us is a very small, precarious island in a vast sea of them. The first 7 years of your life pass in this environment of domestic austerity and looming threat. You learn to be tough, to be quiet, to be obedient. You are strong for your age. You have been hardened by your mother's discipline and the rough and tumble play with your peers. You feel a deep loyalty to your family, to your mother and father. And then, on your 7th birthday, all of that is taken away from you. This, you will learn. Was the point all along to allow you to form a bond with your family, only to savagely sever it, to teach you that your only true family, your only real loyalty, is to the state of Sparta? The day has come for your formal education to begin. The day you must leave your home and enter the barracks of the Agog. Your life as an individual is over. Your new life as a member of the herd is about to begin. Your 7th birthday is not a day of celebration. There is no cake. There are no gifts. There is only a quiet, grim finality. The morning dawns like any other, but a heavy silence hangs over your family's home. Your mother does not meet your eye. She moves about her morning tasks with a rigid, controlled efficiency. There are no tears, no last-minute embraces. She is a Spartan woman, and her duty is to show strength, to offer her son to the state with pride, not sorrow. To weep would be a disgrace to you, to her, to your family. But you can see the tension in the set of her jaw, the slight tremor in her hands as she serves the morning porridge. After the meal, your father rises. He simply says, "It is time." He takes you by the hand, and you walk out of the door of the only home you have ever known. You do not look back. You have been taught that. 2. You walk with your father through the dusty paths of your village, towards the central area where the barracks stand. They are not grand buildings. They are long, low, functional structures of wood and stone, built for utility, not comfort. They exude an air of harsh, disciplined austerity. This is the Agog, the state-sponsored training regimen that will be your life, your world, your entire reality for the next 13 years. You are brought before a man whose presence commands immediate, fearful respect. He is the paidonomos, the boy herder. He is a high-ranking citizen, a veteran of many wars, chosen for this role because of his unwavering commitment to the Spartan way. He is, in effect, the headmaster of this brutal school, and he is now your legal guardian. Your father formally hands you over to him, a simple, transaction-like gesture. Your father gives you a final, stern look, nods once, and walks away. He will not visit you. You will not see your family again for a very long time. The first act of your new life is one of erasure. You are stripped of the simple tunic you wore from home. The last physical link to your family, it is taken and tossed aside. You are then issued your new and only uniform. It is a single piece of cloth, a rough, heavy wool cloak dyed a faded crimson. This is the phonikis. It will be your shirt in the summer, your coat in the winter, your blanket at night, and your burial shroud if you should fail. Its coarseness scratches your skin. It feels alien and stiff. Your school uniform is a single, all-season cloak. It's stylishly minimalist and has the thermal insulating properties of a fishing net. It's designed to build character, and also probably hypothermia. You are then led into the barracks proper and shoved into a large, noisy room filled with dozens of other 7-year-old boys. This is your new family, your Agel, your herd. The air is thick with the smell of sweat, unwashed bodies, and fear. Some boys, like you, are standing stunned and silent. Others are already testing each other, shoving and pushing. A pecking order is already being brutally established. You are no longer Gion or Lycomedes, or any other individual name. You are a nameless, faceless part of the herd, and your first task is to find your place in it before it tramples you. Your immediate master in this new world is not the distant Paidonomos. It is a young man of 19, an Iron. He is a graduate of the same system you are just entering, and his current role is to lead your herd. He is given almost absolute authority over you. He is your prefect, your squad leader, your tormentor in chief. He approaches your group of new arrivals, a whip made of leather strips dangling casually from his hand. He is tall and lean, his body a network of hard muscle and old scars. His eyes are cold and appraising. He is not looking at children. He is looking at raw, unformed material. You are no longer in your mother's house, he says, his voice flat and hard. You are not her little pets. You belong to Sparta now, here. You will learn to obey, to endure, and to fight, or you will be broken. The choice is yours. He walks down the line of you, looking each boy in the eye. He stops in front of a boy who is sniffling, his face streaked with tears. There is no crying in the Agugj, the Iron says, his voice dangerously soft. He then strikes the boy across the face with the back of his hand, a sharp, sudden blow that sends him sprawling. The boy chokes back his sobs, his eyes wide with terror. The lesson is clear, and it is learned instantly by everyone. Welcome to your new school. There are no finger paints or nap times. The curriculum is mostly pain, and your guidance counselor is a 19-year-old with a whip who thinks you're too soft. The first great lesson is obedience. You learn to respond to commands instantly, without thought, when the Irin speaks. You move. Hesitation, even for a second, is met with a sharp cut from his whip. The whip is a constant presence, a tool of education as common as a book would be in an Athenian school. You are taught that the sting of the lash is not a punishment to be ashamed of, but a test of your endurance. To cry out is to show weakness. To endure it in silence is to show the beginnings of Spartan virtue. The second lesson is collective responsibility. You are organized into smaller squads within the herd. The failures of one are the failures of all. If one boy is slow to dress in the morning, your entire squad is denied their meager breakfast. If one boy speaks out of turn, your entire squad is forced to run barefoot until their feet are raw. This system is ruthlessly effective. It teaches you to police each other. You quickly learn to encourage or bully the weaker members of your squad into compliance. Because their weakness brings you pain, it forges a powerful, if brutal, group cohesion. The third lesson is silence. You are taught the laconic mode of speech for which Sparta is famous. You are to be silent unless spoken to by a superior. If you are asked a question, your answer must be as short and as witty as possible. At the communal, meager dinners, the Iron will often quiz you, testing your mind as well as your body. He might ask a riddle or a question about Spartan law. What is the most beautiful thing in the world? He might ask. The wrong answer, a long-winded or foolish one, would earn you a sharp bite on the thumb from the Iron himself. A correct, laconic answer, like a well-ordered army, might earn you a nod of approval, a prize more valuable than any food. Classicists and social psychologists debate the long-term effects of this system. Did this violent separation from family and immersion in a brutal, Competitive peer group create a society of emotionally stunted men, incapable of forming normal human bonds of love or empathy. As their Athenian rivals claimed, or did it successfully forge the unique band of brothers mentality? A fierce and unbreakable loyalty to the state and to one's comrades. That made the Spartan phalanx the most feared military formation in all of Greece. The truth is likely that it did both. It created the perfect soldiers, but it may have destroyed the men inside them. Your first night in the barracks is the loneliest of your life. You lie on a hard pallet of reeds you were forced to gather yourself from the riverbank. With no knife to cut them, you have only your single, scratchy cloak for warmth against the cool night air. The room is filled with the unfamiliar sounds of dozens of other boys. You hear coughing, the grinding of teeth, the occasional, quickly stifled sob from a boy who has not yet fully learned the lesson of silent suffering. You think of your mother, of your father, of the familiar warmth of your own home. The memory is a physical pain, a hollow ache in your chest. You bite your lip to keep your own tears from falling. You are 7 years old, and you have never felt so alone. The days that follow are a blur of harsh lessons and constant, low-level misery. You are kept barefoot at all times, in all seasons. The rough, stony ground of Laconia cuts and bruises your feet, but you are told this will harden them, make you a faster and surer runner. The food is always the same, a thin, black barley broth, a piece of hard bread, and a few olives or a piece of cheese. It is intentionally insufficient, a diet designed to keep you lean, tough, and always hungry. You begin to learn the faces of the boys in your herd. You learn who is strong, who is clever, who is cruel, and who is weak. You learn to fight for your portion of food, to guard your cloak at night lest it be stolen. You are in a constant, low-level state of competition with everyone around you. You are no longer a son, a child of a particular family. Your old identity has been stripped away, burned off by the harsh discipline of your new life. You are now a creature of the Agog, a member of the herd. Your education in brutality has begun. Your new life in the barracks quickly settles into a brutal, monotonous rhythm. The initial shock and the lingering, painful memory of your family begin to fade, buried under a daily avalanche of hardship, hunger, and discipline. The Agogy is designed to systematically erase the boy you were and rebuild you from the ground up as a creature of the Spartan state. Your education has begun, and the curriculum is pain. The day begins before the sun. You are woken not by a gentle call, but by the sharp, barking shout of your Aaron, the 19-year-old prefect who rules your small world. You sleep in a long hall with the 50 or so other boys of your agel. Your herd. You sleep on a pallet of sharp reeds that you were forced to gather from the banks of the Eurotas River with your bare hands. As knives are forbidden for such tasks, you're one. Thin wool cloak is your only blanket in the winter. The cold is a physical entity, a wolf that gnaws at you all night. You learn to huddle together with the other boys, a pile of shivering bodies seeking a pathetic amount of shared warmth. Your bed is a pile of reeds you ripped out of the ground. It's got a firmness rating of solid rock and a comfort index of nope. It does wonders for your posture, mostly by making you wish you were dead. You have minutes to rise and assemble outside. There is no time for washing. You are expected to be dirty, to be toughened by the grime of your life. The morning begins with exercises. You run, always barefoot, in the summer. The ground is hot and dusty. In the winter, you run over stony ground covered in frost, your feet turning numb and then raw, but you do not complain. To complain is to show weakness. To show weakness is to invite the whip. So you run in silence, your breath pluming in the cold air. After the run, it is time for the morning meal. This is the first test of your stomach and your will for the day. You are served one thing, and one thing only: Spartan black broth. The infamous melas zomos. It is a legendary concoction, famous throughout Greece for its sheer, uncompromising awfulness. It is a thin, dark soup made from boiled pork, salt, vinegar, and, most distinctively, pig's blood. The taste is sharp, salty, and metallic. The texture is gritty. There are lumps of congealed blood and chewy pieces of pork fat floating in it. An Athenian dignitary who was once forced to try it famously remarked that he finally understood why Spartans were so fearless in battle. As death was clearly preferable to having to eat this every day, you are given a small bowl of it, along with a piece of hard barley bread. You eat it quickly, without expression, to grimace. To show any sign of disgust would be an offense, a sign of a soft, un-Spartan character. The food is not meant for pleasure, it is fuel, and it is intentionally, systematically, not enough fuel. You are kept in a state of perpetual, gnawing hunger. This is a core tenet of your education. A boy with a full belly becomes lazy and soft. A hungry boy is lean, tough, and, as you will soon learn, resourceful. After the meal, your formal lessons begin. It is a common misconception that Spartans were illiterate brutes. You are taught to read and write, but only for purely functional purposes. You learn your letters so you can read a military dispatch, understand a map, or write a concise report. There is no study of philosophy, of rhetoric, of the complex arts that the Athenians prize. Such things are considered useless luxuries that create weak, argumentative, and individualistic men. Your primary literary education consists of memorizing and chanting the works of poets who glorify the Spartan ideal. You learn the verses of Tertius, the poet who wrote of the glory of dying for the state, of the shame of retreat, of the beauty of a young warrior falling in the front rank. It is a beautiful thing for a good man to fall and die fighting in the front line for his fatherland. You chant in unison, the words becoming a part of your very being. You also learn the great Homeric epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey, but you are taught to focus only on the stories of courage, of martial prowess, of Achilles and Hector, the great warriors. You are also taught music, not for its own sake, but for its military application. You learn to play the lyre and the flute, but the tunes you learn are not complex melodies. They are simple, rhythmic tunes for marching, for religious hymns to the gods of war, and for the controlled advance of the phalanx into battle. Music, like everything else in your life, is a tool of war, the core of your curriculum. However, is the cultivation of carteria endurance. Every aspect of your life is designed to increase your tolerance for pain and hardship. You are barefoot, you have one cloak for all weather, you are always hungry, and you are frequently beaten. Flogging is not just a punishment in the agoge. It is a pedagogical tool. It is a public test, a ritual. Your Aaron might decide that a fight between two boys should be settled not by a simple victory, but by who can endure a lashing longer without crying out. You are brought into the center of a circle of your peers. You are tied to a post, and you are whipped. The older men of the city, the full citizens, will often come to watch these displays. They are assessing you, judging your performance. They are looking for the boys who clench their teeth, who stare ahead, whose bodies might tremble but whose spirit does not break. To endure the pain in stoic silence is to earn a nod of approval, a rare and precious commodity in your world. The Spartan school's motto is, "That which does not kill you is a failed training exercise." They have a very hands-on approach to building resilience. The social dynamics of your herd are complex and brutal. Your Iron is the absolute authority, a young god whose favor you crave and whose wrath you fear. He knows you are hungry, so he might hold up a piece of roasted meat at dinner and offer it as a prize to the boy who can answer a riddle correctly, or to the boy who can best entertain the group with a song or a story. He deliberately fosters competition among you. He will pit you against each other in wrestling matches and mock battles. These are not friendly games, they are vicious, often bloody affairs. There are no rules against biting or gouging. The goal is to dominate your opponent, to prove your superiority. These state-sanctioned fights are a way for the leaders to identify the most aggressive and naturally dominant boys. The ones who have the makings of future leaders. You form friendships, of course, but they are Spartan friendships. Your bond with the other boys in your squad is forged in the crucible of shared suffering. You learn to rely on each other, to cover for each other's small mistakes, to work as a team, because the punishment for one is the punishment for all. You might also form a special bond with a particular older boy, perhaps one of the Irenes, or a boy a few years ahead of you in the training. This relationship is a form of mentorship. He might offer you protection from the other bullies, share a secret piece of stolen food with you, and guide you in the ways of the Agog. It is the closest thing to brotherly affection you will experience. A vital bond in a world designed to stamp out all softness. You despise the helots. You are taught to... You see them working the fields that support you? Their bodies bent in labor you will never have to perform. You see them as a different species, inherently inferior, cowardly and treacherous. This dehumanization is a crucial part of your psychological conditioning. You are being trained to be a master, a soldier in a perpetual occupying army, to control the helots effectively. You must feel no empathy for them, no shared humanity. They are a threat to be managed and, if necessary, to be extinguished. Classicists debate the true purpose of the extreme austerity you are forced to endure. Was it purely practical? Was the system designed to create soldiers who could survive on minimal rations and endure the brutal conditions of a military campaign in ancient Greece? Or was it primarily ideological? Was it a system designed to instill in you a deep-seated contempt for comfort, for luxury, for the soft and decadent lifestyles of other Greeks, particularly your great rivals, the Athenians? The answer, as you huddle shivering under your thin cloak after a meager meal, seems to be both. The system is creating a body that can withstand any hardship, and a mind that views hardship itself as a form of moral virtue. The years from 7 to 12 pass in this way. The boy who cried for his mother is gone, a ghost you barely remember. You are now a lean, hard creature of the herd. Your feet are like leather. You know the geography of pain intimately. You can endure the cold. You can function on a perpetually empty stomach. You have learned to obey instantly, to fight viciously, and to hide any sign of weakness. The Agog has successfully stripped you down to your foundations, but its work is not done. You are about to enter your teenage years, a time when the training will become even more intense, and you will be taught new, even darker lessons about what it takes to be a Spartan. You have been in the Agog for a few years now. The softness of your early childhood is a distant, half-forgotten dream. You are a creature of the herd. Your instincts honed by discipline and your body hardened by constant hardship. You have learned to endure the cold, the pain of the whip, and the ache of a body pushed to its limits. But now, your education enters a new, stranger, and more practical phase. You are about to learn the art of the successful theft. This is not a clandestine activity that you must hide from your superiors. It is a formal, if unwritten, part of the curriculum. The logic, as explained by your Aaron during one of the evening sessions, is as brutal and pragmatic as everything else in Sparta. He gathers your herd around him, his eyes scanning your thin, hungry faces. A Spartan warrior on campaign does not have the luxury of a full supply wagon, he says, his voice cutting through the evening chill. He must be able to live off the land. He must be resourceful, quick-witted, and silent. A soldier who cannot find food for himself is a soldier who will die. Therefore, from this day forward, you will learn to provide for yourselves. He lets that sink in. The rations you are given, he continues, gesturing to the meager remains of your black broth and barley bread, are not enough. We know this. They are intentionally not enough. Your hunger is a tool. It is a whetstone to sharpen your wits. You are to supplement your diet by stealing. Steal from the helot farms, steal from the orchards, Steal from the kitchens of the adult messes. Steal from each other. A nervous murmur goes through the group of boys. Steal from each other. The iron holds up a hand for silence. There is only one rule, he says, his voice dropping to a low, serious tone. There is only one crime. You are not punished for the act of stealing. You are punished for the act of getting caught. To steal successfully is a mark of cunning, of stealth, of Spartan virtue. To be caught is a mark of clumsiness, of stupidity, of unforgivable weakness. A boy who is caught is a disgrace. He has failed the test, and he will be flogged without mercy. Do you understand? You all nod in grim, silent understanding. The school has a very simple honor code. Rule 1, stealing is a required course. Rule 2, if you get caught. See Rule 3. Rule 3, prepare for a comprehensive, whip-based performance review. And so begins your education in larceny. Your first attempts are clumsy and disastrous, driven by the gnawing pain in your belly. You try to sneak into the helot quarters near the barracks to steal a loaf of bread. You are slow. You step on a dry twig. A dog barks. A helot woman shouts. And you are caught. The humiliation is immediate and absolute. You are dragged before your Aaron and the rest of your herd. You have failed. You have brought shame upon your group. The flogging that follows is severe, but the sting of the whip is nothing compared to the sting of your public failure. The laughter and scorn of the other boys is the real punishment. You learn from your mistakes. You learn that thievery is not about boldness, it is about planning and precision. It is a military operation in miniature. One night, you and the 3 other boys who sleep on the same reed pallets as you decide to undertake a major expedition. Your target is a small, isolated farmstead a few miles from the barracks, where a helot family lives that is known to keep a few pigs. A piglet would be a feast beyond imagining. For several days, you conduct reconnaissance. You sneak out at dusk, moving through the scrubland like shadows, and you observe the farm. You learn the habits of the helot farmer and his family. You note when they go to bed, the location of their dog, the weakest point in the fence of the pig pen. You make a plan. One boy, the fastest runner, will act as a lookout on the nearby hill. Another boy will be the diversion. His job is to creep near the cottage and throw a stone against the far wall, drawing the dog's attention. While the dog is barking in the wrong direction, you and the 4th boy, the strongest in your group, will make your move on the pig pen. The night of the raid is moonless and tense. You move in absolute silence, your bare feet making no sound on the soft earth. Your heart hammers in your chest, a drumbeat of fear and adrenaline. You take your positions at the designated moment. You see the signal from your lookout. You hear a sharp thwack as the diversion stone hits the cottage wall, followed by the frantic barking of the dog. Now, you and your partner sprint across the open ground to the pig pen. You work together. Your movements practiced and swift. You lift the wooden latch. The pigs squeal, a sound that makes your blood run cold. You dive into the pen, grab the smallest piglet, and hoist it over the fence. You run. You run faster than you have ever run in your life. The terrified squealing of the piglet in your arms. The shouts of the roused helot farmer behind you. You do not stop running until you are deep in the woods. Your lungs burning, your legs shaking. You rendezvous with your comrades. You have done it. You have succeeded. The feeling is one of pure, intoxicating triumph. You find a secluded spot, far from the barracks, and you build a small, smokeless fire. You kill and prepare the piglet with the crude knives you're now allowed to carry, and then you feast. You roast the meat on sticks over the fire. The smell of the cooking pork, so good it makes you dizzy. You tear into the hot, greasy meat like a pack of wolves. That stolen pork, eaten in a dark wood in the middle of the night, is the most delicious thing you have ever tasted. It has notes of adrenaline, terror, and the sweet. Sweet taste of not being flogged. The act of planning, executing, and succeeding in this shared crime binds you and your squad mates together more tightly than any drill or shared punishment ever could. This training, as bizarre as it sounds, was a cornerstone of the Spartan system. Recorded by ancient historians like Xenophon and Plutarch, it taught you the essential skills of a soldier's stealth: cunning, resourcefulness, and the ability to operate under extreme pressure. It also had a secondary effect. It made you constantly on guard. Back in the barracks, you learned to sleep with your arm thrown over your meager possessions, lest another hungry boy steal your cloak or your ration of bread while you sleep. You become both the hunter and the hunted. Sociologists and military historians debate the ultimate effect of this institutionalized criminality. Did it truly create more effective soldiers, or did it foster a culture of profound mistrust and internal conflict? Furthermore, by sanctioning theft and violence against the Helot population from such a young age, the state was effectively training every Spartan boy to be an agent of terror, normalizing the brutal oppression required to maintain control over a vast and resentful slave class. The targets of your thievery become more ambitious. Stealing from a Helot is one thing. The ultimate test of skill and courage is to steal from your superiors. The adult Spartans eat in their common mess halls. The Syssitia, the kitchens are guarded. To sneak in and steal a side of roasted meat or a skin of wine from the warriors you are supposed to emulate is an act of incredible daring. A boy who succeeds in such a feat wins immense prestige among his peers, and even a grudging respect from the older Irenes. He has proven he has the cunning and the audacity of a true Spartan. You become a proficient thief. Your movements become silent. Your senses sharp. You learn to read the shadows, to anticipate the movements of others, to exploit a moment of inattention. You learn that rules are for others, and that for a Spartan. The only true law is to succeed and not get caught. One evening, you fail. You are attempting to steal a wheel of cheese from a storage hut. Your foot slips on a loose stone. A guard turns, a lantern is raised, and you are caught. The shame is a hot, sickening wave. You are dragged before the entire herd. The cheese is held up as evidence of your failure. Your Iron looks at you not with anger, but with a deep, theatrical disappointment. "You are a disgrace," he says, his voice dripping with contempt. You move like a cow. You think like an Athenian. You have shamed yourself, and you have shamed Sparta. He does not mention the cheese. He does not mention the act of stealing. He only mentions your failure, your clumsiness, and then he picks up his whip. The flogging is long and methodical. You bite down on a leather strap to keep from screaming, focusing all your will on enduring the pain in silence. You survive the beating, but you learn the lesson more deeply than ever before. Hunger is a motivation, pain is a teacher, but shame is the greatest disciplinarian of all. You have been taught that success is rewarded with survival and a full belly, and failure is rewarded with pain and public humiliation. You are learning the hard, brutal calculus of your world, and as you enter your teenage years, the equations of pain, hunger, and honor are about to become much more complex. You have reached the age of 12. The transition is not marked by a celebration or a family gathering. It is marked by an intensification of hardship. You are no longer considered a mere boy, a paides. You are now a paidiskos, a youth. The training wheels, such as they were, are taken off. Your single wool cloak, which provided a meager defense against the winter cold, is now taken from you for a period. You are expected to endure the seasons with nothing but the toughness of your own skin. Your hair, which had been allowed to grow long, is now cut short, a visible sign of your new status. The world of the Agu is about to show you its true, unvarnished face. Life is about to become a world of pain and peer pressure. The core of your education is still obedience and endurance, but the methods have become more severe, the competition more overt and more violent. The casual scuffles and fights of your younger years are now formalized into regular mock battles. These are not games. They are brutal. Full contact struggles designed to foster a relentless aggression and an indifference to pain. Both your own and that of others, your agel, your herd, is pitted against another. The contest might take place at a location known as the Platanistas, an island in the middle of the Eurotas River, surrounded by ditches and accessible by 2 small bridges. This is an obscure but well-documented feature of your education. The rules are simple. There are no rules. The goal is to drive the opposing team off the island by any means necessary. You bite, you kick, you gouge, you punch. You work with your squad to isolate a weaker boy from the other herd, surrounding him and beating him into submission. You learn to push and shove, to use your weight as a weapon, to force your opponents back, step by step, until they are driven into the cold water of the ditch. The Irenes and the adult citizens of Sparta line the banks of the river to watch. They do not intervene to stop the violence. They shout encouragement. They praise the most ferocious fighters. And they jeer at any boy who shows fear or hangs back from the fight. It is a terrifying public spectacle. And your performance is being judged. Your reputation, your standing among your peers and your elders, is forged in the bloody mud of these contests. The peer pressure is immense. If you're not tough enough, your friends will help you get tougher. Primarily by punching you. It's their way of showing they care. A moment of cowardice, of hesitation, will earn you not just the scorn of your Iren, but the contempt of your own comrades. They will mock you, ostracize you, and bully you relentlessly, because your weakness brings shame upon the entire group. So you fight with a desperate ferocity, driven not just by the desire to win, but by the terror of being seen as a coward. But the centerpiece of your teenage education, the ultimate expression of the Spartan obsession with endurance, is the annual ritual at the temple of Artemis Orthia. It is a religious festival, but it is a strange and terrifying one. On the altar of the goddess, a number of flat, round cheeses are placed. Your task, along with all the other boys your age, is to try and steal one of the cheeses. The challenge is that the altar is surrounded by the older youths, the Irenes, and they are all armed with cruel leather whips. This ritual is the diamastagosis. As you and the other boys make a frantic dash for the altar, the whips rain down upon you. They fall on your back, your shoulders, your legs, raising angry, bloody welts. The air is filled with the sharp crack of the whips and the grunts of the boys as they are struck. The goal is not really to get the cheese. The goal is to endure the flogging. The contest is to see who can withstand the most punishment for the longest time, without crying out or retreating. It is the ultimate test of your carteria. You run towards the altar, your heart pounding. A whip catches you across the back, a line of pure fire that takes your breath away. You stumble but keep going. Another lash catches your legs, you fall to your knees, but you push yourself back up. You see a boy next to you collapse, unconscious. He is dragged away. You see another boy, his back a mangled ruin, proudly holding up a stolen cheese before he, too, faints from the pain and blood loss. You fix your eyes on the altar and push forward. The pain a distant, roaring sea. Your entire being focused on the single. Overriding goal of not showing weakness. Some boys, it is said, have died at the altar, their hearts giving out from the strain and the agony, choosing death over the dishonor of quitting. The annual school festival is a fun event where you try to steal some cheese from an altar while being flogged to within an inch of your life. It's a lot like a modern cheese and wine festival, but with significantly more screaming. Life is not all violence and pain. Your intellectual and musical training also continues, though always with a military purpose. You participate in the great choral festivals, like the Gymnopedia, the festival of the unarmed boys, for days. Under the blazing summer sun, you and the other youths perform intricate, athletic dances and sing hymns celebrating Sparta's military victories. It is a stunning display of the state's prize products ranks upon ranks of physically perfect, disciplined young men, their bodies gleaming with olive oil, moving and singing as one. It is a piece of propaganda, a demonstration of Spartan strength and unity for all of Greece to see in these teenage years. The social dynamics become more complex. You might attract the attention of an older, respected warrior, a full citizen. He might become your mentor, your Erastes, or lover. This pederastic relationship is a core part of your social education, the ideal form of this bond, as described by Spartan apologists, was a pure and noble mentorship. The older man was to be a role model, responsible for your moral and military education, inspiring you to acts of courage and virtue. In return, you, the eights or beloved, were to show him unwavering loyalty and respect. Historians and classicists debate the true nature of these relationships. Was this an idealized, platonic mentorship? A way to pass down the Spartan ethos from one generation to the next? Or was it, as many of Sparta's Greek rivals claimed, often a physical and exploitative relationship? The reality was likely complex and varied, a spectrum from noble mentorship to outright abuse. But for you, gaining the favor of a powerful and respected warrior is a crucial step up the social ladder. His praise can elevate your status, his disapproval can ruin you. It is yet another layer of intense social pressure you must navigate. You are now a teenager. You are no longer a frightened child. You are a product of this brutal, relentless system. Your body is hard and scarred. Your mind is sharp and disciplined. You know how to give and receive pain. You know how to lead, how to follow, and how to fight as part of a pack. You have learned to find honor in hardship, to despise comfort, and to place the good of the state above all else, above your own safety, your own feelings, your own life. You are a finely honed weapon, and you are nearing the end of your time on the forge at 18. You reach the next great milestone. You are no longer a youth. You are on the cusp of manhood. You have survived the beatings, the hunger, the constant competition. You have endured the whips at the altar of Artemis. You have proven your worth. But your education is not over. Now, you must transition from being the victim of the system's brutality to becoming one of its perpetrators. You are about to become an iron, a leader of your own herd of small, terrified 7-year-old boys. You are about to become the very thing you once feared the most. You are now in your late teens. You have survived the relentless grind of the agorge. Your body a canvas of scars. Your mind a fortress of discipline. You are stronger, faster, and tougher than any other youth in Greece. You have been shaped by pain and honed by hunger. Most of the boys you started with are gone, failed, broken, or simply not strong enough to endure. You are the elite, and it is because you are the elite that one evening. You are summoned away from the others. It is not your Aaron who summons you. It is one of the 5 ephors, the highest elected officials in Sparta, men who hold the real power in the state. He meets you in a quiet olive grove, away from prying eyes and listening ears. He looks at you, his gaze intense, assessing. He tells you that your performance in the agoge has been noted. Your cunning, your endurance, your ruthless aggression in the mock battles. You have been chosen, he informs you, for a higher, more secret form of education. You have been selected for the Krypteia. The name itself is spoken in a whisper. It is the secret police, the shadow service of the Spartan state. To be chosen is a mark of immense honor, a sign that you are considered among the most promising and resourceful of your generation. It is also an invitation into a world of profound darkness. The Ephor's instructions are simple and terrifyingly direct. You are to be sent out from the safety of the barracks, alone. Your equipment will be a single knife. That is all. No cloak, no food, no sandals, no companions. You are to travel into the countryside of Messenia, the vast territory populated by the Helots, the state-owned slaves who work the land that feeds you. Your mission is twofold. First, you must survive. You must use all the skills you have learned: your toughness, your stealth, your ability to steal to live off the land. You must find your own food, your own shelter. Second, and more importantly, you are to observe and terrorize the Helot population. You are to move only at night, hiding during the day. You are to be a ghost, a whisper, an unseen threat. And the Ether tells you, his voice dropping to a cold, flat tone. You have another duty. The Helots outnumber your people 10 to 1. They are a constant, simmering threat. Your job is to cut the head off the snake before it can ever think to strike. You are to identify the strongest, most intelligent, most influential Helots, any who might have the potential to lead a rebellion, and you are to kill them. Silently, in the night. This is the ultimate purpose of the Cryptia. It is a state-sanctioned murder campaign, a perpetual, low-level war of terror designed to keep the massive slave population cowed and leaderless. To give this act a veneer of legality, there is an obscure but critical ritual. Every year, the Ephors formally declare war on the Helots. This chilling, legalistic fiction means that when you slit the throat of a sleeping Helot, it is not murder. You are not incurring religious pollution or blood guilt. It is simply an act of war, committed by a soldier of Sparta against an enemy of the state. You've been selected for a special honors program. It's like a study abroad trip, but instead of learning a new language, you learn how to live in a ditch and terrorize the local populace. It looks great on a resume. You are taken out at dusk and left at the edge of the settled lands of Sparta. You watch the lights of the barracks fade behind you, and you are utterly alone for the first time since you were 7 years old. The skills you have learned are immediately put to the test. The hunger is a familiar companion, but now there is no common mess to return to. You use your hard-won thieving skills to raid a Helot's vegetable patch. Your movement silent and practiced. You steal a chicken and cook it over a tiny, smokeless fire deep in a wooded ravine. You learn to read the land, to track animals, to find clean water. You learn to move through the countryside like a phantom, your bare feet making no sound. You spend your days hidden in a thicket or a cave, watching the Helots work in the fields. You have been taught your entire life to despise them, to see them as subhuman. But now, as you watch them, you see them not as a faceless mass, but as people. You see a father teaching his son how to mend a fence. You see a mother singing to her child. You see them laugh together at the end of a long day of labor. For a fleeting moment, you might feel a flicker of shared humanity, but you crush that feeling. It is a weakness. The Agagi has taught you to crush all weakness. These are not people. They are the enemy. They are the threat that your entire society is built to contain. Your main purpose is the night. As darkness falls, you emerge from your hiding place. You are the monster the Helots tell their children about. You move silently through their villages. Sometimes, your mission is simply to create fear. You might kill a dog and leave it on a doorstep. You might leave a strange mark carved into a tree. The goal is to keep them off balance, to make them feel that they are always being watched, that there is no safety, even in their own homes. The Cryptia is an excellent way to keep the slave population in line. It's hard for them to plan a rebellion when they're worried about being murdered by a teenager hiding in a bush. It's a unique, if brutal, approach to labor relations. Then comes the night you have been training for, the final test of your initiation. You have been observing a particular Helot for weeks. He is big and strong, a natural leader. You have seen the way the others look to him. He works harder than anyone else. But you have also seen him at night. speaking in hushed, intense tones with other men. He is a potential spark in a field of dry tinder. He is your target. You stalk him. You wait until he is alone. Returning to his hut late from the fields. The moon is hidden behind the clouds. The night is dark. You move from shadow to shadow, your knife held tight in your hand. Your heart is not pounding with fear, but with a cold, focused excitement. This is the ultimate hunt. You are upon him before he knows you are there. The act itself is swift, silent, and brutal. There is a brief struggle, a muffled grunt, and then silence. You do not linger. You melt back into the darkness, leaving the body for his family to find in the morning. You have killed a man for the first time. You feel no remorse, no guilt. You feel only a cold sense of accomplishment. You have served the state. You have eliminated a threat. You have proven that you have the ruthlessness required of a Spartan leader. Historians debate the true nature of this secret institution. Was it really, as Plutarch describes, a systematic death squad for culling the slave population, or was it more of a reconnaissance and survival training exercise for future leaders? With the killing being a rare or exaggerated part of the story, the very secrecy of the cryptia means that concrete evidence is scarce. But the fear it inspired in the Helot population was very real, and it served as a powerful instrument of social control for centuries. You spent perhaps a year in the countryside, living this feral, solitary existence. You become harder, leaner, and colder than you were before. You learn to rely on no one but yourself. You learn that mercy is a fatal weakness and that the security of Sparta is built upon a foundation of quiet, nocturnal terror. When your time is done, you return. You slip back into Spartan society as quietly as you left it. You are different. The other youths who were not chosen for the cryptia look at you with a new respect and a new fear. They do not know exactly what you have done, but they can see it in your eyes. You have passed a test that they have not. You have been blooded. You have looked into the dark heart of the Spartan system and embraced it as your own. You are no longer just a graduate of the Agoge. You are one of its chosen instruments. Your education in brutality is almost complete. Now, you are ready to take your place as a leader, to begin the process of shaping the next generation of small boys into the same hard, ruthless weapon that you have become. Your time in the wilderness is over. You return from the cryptia a changed man. You are no longer a boy, but a creature of shadow and steel. Your innocence, if you ever had any. Left behind in the dark ravines of the Messenian countryside, you have passed the secret test of the Spartan elite. You have proven you possess the cunning and the ruthlessness that the state demands of its future leaders. Now, you must take your place in the hierarchy, and for the first time, you will taste real authority. You have reached the age of 19. You are now an Iron, a youth in your final stage of training before becoming a full citizen. Your life is no longer one of being constantly tested and tormented by older boys. You are now the older boy. And your primary duty is to turn the next generation of 7-year-olds into the same hard, unfeeling weapon that you have become. You have graduated from being the bullied to being the bully. You are assigned your own agel, your own herd. You stand before them for the first time, a group of 50 small boys, fresh from their families, their faces a mixture of awe and raw, undisguised terror. They look at you, at your scarred body and your cold, impassive eyes, and they see a god or a demon. You look at them, at their soft, unformed faces, their round limbs, their lingering scent of home and mother's milk, and you see raw material. You see weakness that must be burned away. You see individuality that must be hammered into a uniform shape. You look at a small, dark-haired boy at the front who is trying desperately not to cry. And for a fleeting, disorienting moment, you see yourself, all those years ago. You remember the hollow ache of loneliness, The sting of the first lash? The gnawing hunger? You remember the fear? A flicker of something pity. Perhaps, or empathy stirs in your chest, and then you crush it. You crush it without a second thought. Because you know that pity is a poison. Pity would make you a poor teacher. Pity would make them weak. And weakness, in the Spartan world, is death. Your job is not to nurture them. Your job is to make them hard enough to survive. Congratulations on your promotion to junior manager. Your new role involves mentoring the new recruits, fostering a positive team environment, and whipping them if they talk too much. It's a very dynamic leadership position. You take up the whip. The leather feels familiar, but strange. In your hand, you are now the one who enforces the brutal rules of the Agag. You teach them the first lessons. Silence, obedience, endurance. When a boy speaks out of turn. Your whip flashes, the sound a sharp crack in the air. When a boy is slow to follow a command. You strike him across the back of the legs. You do not do it with anger or with pleasure. You do it with a cold, dispassionate efficiency. This is your duty. You are a craftsman, and this is your craft. You are shaping boys into soldiers, the cycle of abuse, which sociologists and historians will later debate, is now perpetuated by you. Was this system a calculated pedagogy, a way to teach leadership by giving you responsibility? Or was it simply a crude but effective machine for ensuring each generation was as emotionally hardened and brutalized as the last? By forcing the victims to become the new victimizers, the question is too complex for you. You are not a sociologist. You are an Aisha. You are doing what was done to you, because it is the only way you know. It is the Spartan way. You lead your herd on long, punishing runs. Barefoot over the stony ground, you watch them as they eat their disgusting black broth. Your eyes scanning for any sign of weakness or complaint. You instigate fights between them, pitting one against another, to see who has the most spirit, the most aggression. You praise the boy who, despite being smaller, fights like a cornered wolverine. You punish the boy who shrinks from the fight. You teach them the art of the successful theft. You keep them perpetually hungry, and you explain the one great rule: do not get caught. When one of your boys succeeds, when he proudly presents a stolen cheese or a strangled chicken to be shared among his squad, you give him a rare nod of approval. When another is caught, dragged before you in shame by an irate helot or an older Spartan, you administer the flogging yourself, your arm rising and falling with a steady rhythm, your voice laced with contempt for his clumsiness. But your life now is a strange duality. By night, and in your role as a boy herder, you are a master, a figure of absolute authority. But during the day, your own training continues, and you are once again a subordinate. You and the other Irenes now begin the final, most important stage of your military education. You learn to be a hoplite. Your days are spent on the training grounds, learning the art of the phalanx. You are handed your own set of arms. First, the aspis, the great Spartan shield. It is a heavy, bowl-shaped shield of wood and bronze, nearly 3 feet in diameter. It is not just a piece of armor. It is a symbol of your new identity. You are taught to carry its immense weight on your left arm. Your instructor, a scarred veteran of the Persian Wars, explains that the shield is not primarily for your own protection. Its large size protects the unshielded right side of the man standing to your left. Your life, you learn, is now tied to his. His life is tied to yours. The phalanx is a chain, and you are all its interlocking links. A Spartan mother's parting words to her son are famous: "Come back with your shield, or on it." To drop your shield in battle and flee was the ultimate act of cowardice, because it did not just expose you, it exposed your entire line. You learned to use the doru, the Spartan spear, It is a long, heavy weapon, 8 to 10 feet in length, with an iron spearhead and a bronze butt spike that could be used to finish off fallen enemies or to plant the spear in the ground. You practice for hours, thrusting, jabbing, learning to handle its length and weight from behind the protection of your shield. You also train with the xiphos, the short, leaf-shaped sword that is your secondary weapon, to be used only if the spear is broken or the phalanx dissolves into a chaotic melee. And you drill. You drill endlessly. You practice forming the shield wall, locking your aspis with those of the men next to you, until you are a solid, glittering wall of bronze and wood. You practice the advance, the pas de charge, moving forward as one great, unstoppable creature, your spears bristling, your feet moving in perfect time to the rhythm of a flute. You practice the athismos, the great, grinding push of shields against a rival formation. This is the ultimate expression of Spartan military doctrine. It is not about individual heroism or flashy swordplay. It is about discipline, cohesion, and the collective. Irresistible weight of 8 ranks of heavily armored men pushing as one. The Spartan phalanx was the most feared infantry formation in the ancient world. A reputation earned not through superior technology, but through the lifelong, brutal, and unifying training that you are now completing. In the evenings, you are granted another privilege. Another part of your education. You are allowed into the Syssitia, the common mess halls where the full citizens, the warriors of Sparta, take their nightly meal, but you do not eat with them. You are there to serve. You carve their portions of roasted pork. You fill their cups with wine mixed with water, and you listen. This is an obscure but vital part of your political education. You stand in the corners of the room, silent and invisible, and you listen to the men talk. They speak of politics, of the decisions of the ephors and the Gerousia. They discuss strategy, debating the strengths and weaknesses of their rivals, the Athenians, the Thebans, the Persians. They tell stories of past battles, of moments of courage and of cowardice. You are absorbing the culture of the Spartan warrior class, learning what it means to be a citizen after you have served them. You return to your own barracks, to the herd of small boys who both fear and worship you. You bring them the leftovers from the men's table, which you distribute as rewards or incentives. You look at their small, sleeping forms, and you feel a strange sense of ownership, of responsibility. You are the link between the world of the warrior and the world of the child. You are the conduit through which the brutal, uncompromising spirit of Sparta is poured from one generation into the next. The year passes. You are now 20 years old. You are a master of your weapons. You are a veteran of the Cryptaia. You have successfully led your own herd, hardening them as you were hardened. You have served in the mess halls and listened to the counsel of your elders. You are, by every measure, ready. But there is one final test. It is not a test of strength, nor of endurance, nor of courage in battle. It is a test of social acceptance. And in many ways, it is the most daunting of them all. You must be elected into a Syssitia. You must be accepted by your peers as a brother, worthy of sharing their table. And if you fail, if you are blackballed, your entire life of suffering and training will have been for nothing. You will be stripped of your citizenship, a Spartan in name only, a failure in the eyes of the entire world. Your final exam is about to begin. You are 20 years old, a man. By the standards of any other city in Greece, your body is a finely tuned instrument of war, hard and scarred and obedient to your will. Your mind is sharp, your tongue laconic, your spirit forged in the crucible of 2 decades of relentless hardship. You have been a boy in the herd, a thief in the night, a leader of children, and a secret killer for the state. You have mastered the spear and the shield. You are, by every physical measure, a perfect Spartan warrior. But you are not yet a Spartan. There is one final test, one last gate through which you must pass to gain the full rights of citizenship. It is not a test of strength or endurance. It is not a trial by combat. It is a social test, a judgment by your peers, and in many ways, it is the most terrifying test of all. You must be elected into a secession. The secession, or common mess hall, is the central institution of Spartan life. It is more than just a dining club. It is the basic unit of the army. A brotherhood of about 15 men who live, train, fight, and eat together for the rest of their lives. To be a citizen, a homoios, one of the peers or equals, you must be a member of a mess. Failure to gain election means you are cast out from the citizen body. You become an inferior, a man without honor, without political rights. Without a place in the society you have sacrificed everything to join. You have survived being left on a mountain. You have endured the ritual floggings. You have passed through the shadows of the cryptia. Now, you could lose it all because a dozen or so men don't like the way you tell a story. You must apply to a specific mess. Your choice is a careful one. You choose the secession of your father and your older brother. You also have a mentor there, the older warrior who took an interest in you during your teen years. You hope that their influence will be enough. Your application is formally submitted, and then you wait. The election itself is a secret ballot, a model of quiet, ruthless efficiency, the night of the vote. You are not present. You wait outside the mess hall or in the barracks, your stomach churning with an anxiety that is worse than the eve of any battle. Inside the hall, the 15 members of the mess are seated for their evening meal. A servant brings a container, a simple bowl or basin. Then, one by one, each member is given a small ball of soft bread. They get up from their seats and in single file. They walk past the container. This is the obscure, but ingenious, method of the Spartan blackball. As each man passes the basin, he drops his piece of bread into it, if he approves of you. He simply drops the ball of bread as it is. But if he wishes to veto your membership, he first squeezes the bread tightly in his fist, flattening it into a hard, dense wafer. He drops this into the basin without anyone seeing him do it. The process is silent, anonymous, and absolute, because the rule of the election is unanimity. A single flattened piece of bread, a single no vote, is all it takes to deny you entry as you wait outside. You run through your life in your head. You have been on a job interview for the last 13 years, and you didn't even know it. The men inside are judging everything about you. Are you brave? Yes. They have seen you in the training yard and at the festivals. Are you tough? Yes, they saw you endure the whips at the altar of Artemis Orthia. But that is not enough. They are asking other, more subtle questions. Are you good company? Can you tell a sharp, witty, laconic joke? Or are you a bore who speaks too much? Are you generous, or are you selfish with your food and possessions? Are you quarrelsome? Are you discreet? They have watched you when you were a boy. They have watched you as an Aaron, judging how you led the younger boys. They have listened to you speak while you serve them their wine. They are deciding if they want to eat dinner with you. Every single night. For the next 40 years, it's a significant commitment. You see another youth, a boy from another herd, emerge from the waiting area. His face ashen, he stumbles away into the darkness. The news will spread like wildfire. He was blackballed. His life is effectively over. He will be a pariah, a living ghost in a society that values honor and community above all else. The sight makes your own fear taste like bile in your throat. Historians debate the true social function of this process. Was it a democratic element in an otherwise oligarchic state, allowing men to freely choose their closest companions? Or was it, as its ruthless unanimity suggests, another powerful tool of social control? The system ensured that only those who conformed most perfectly to the Spartan ideal of character, brave, tough, but also witty, discreet, and sociable in a very specific way, would be admitted to the elite. It ruthlessly weeded out anyone who was eccentric, unpopular, or simply didn't fit in, creating a powerful pressure for absolute social and behavioral conformity. Finally, a servant emerges from the mess hall and summons you. Your heart feels like it is trying to beat its way out of your chest. You walk into the hall. The room is simple, furnished with plain wooden tables and benches. The air smells of wine, roast pork, and the ever-present vinegary tang of black broth. The 15 men of the mess are all there, their faces unreadable in the flickering lamplight. The head of the mess, a grizzled old warrior with one eye, stands. A servant holds the basin. He solemnly tips the contents out onto the table. A small pile of bread balls. You hold your breath. He inspects them, one by one. They are all round, all of them. There are no flattened pieces. A collective sigh seems to pass through the room. The old warrior looks at you and gives a slight, almost imperceptible nod. "Welcome, brother," he says. The relief is so overwhelming, so absolute, that you feel your knees weaken. You have done it. You have passed the final exam. You are worthy. You are now a homoios, a peer, an equal. You are a Spartan. You are shown to your place at the table. A bowl of black broth is placed before you. A cup is filled with wine. The man next to you, a warrior you have admired since you were a boy, claps you on the shoulder, a gesture of acceptance that is worth more than all the gold in Persia. You belong. You eat your meal, the same meager food you have known your whole life. But tonight it tastes like the most magnificent feast imaginable. You listen to the conversation, the dry jokes, the serious talk of politics. You are no longer a servant here. You are a member. Your education in the Agaj is, for all intents and purposes, complete. You have been forged into the perfect citizen soldier. You are obedient, tough, self-reliant, and utterly loyal to the men at your table and to the state of Sparta. You have been stripped of your individuality and remade in the image of the collective. The process is a stunning success. But as you sit there, in the warm camaraderie of the mess hall, you are still not a complete man. You have proven yourself to your peers. You have earned your place in the phalanx, but you have not yet fulfilled your final, most critical duty to the state. The state has invested 2 decades of relentless training in you. Now, it requires you to produce the next generation of raw material, the next crop of boys to be fed into the great, brutal machine of the Aguga. You are a Spartan warrior. Now, you must become a Spartan husband. You are a peer, a homoios. You have earned your place at the table in the secession, the military mess that is now your true family. You have survived every trial the Agoge could throw at you. You are a perfect Spartan specimen, a testament to the success of the most demanding educational system in the world. Your days are now spent in advanced military training, perfecting the intricate dance of the phalanx. Your evenings are spent in the company of your brothers in arms, drinking wine mixed with water, eating your portion of pork and black broth, and listening to the stories of your elders. Your life has a clear, defined, and honorable purpose, but the state is not finished with you. It has invested 20 years in your creation, and now it demands the final, most crucial return on that investment. You have been forged into the ultimate soldier. Now you must become a tool of production. You must marry and create more soldiers. In Sparta, marriage is not an affair of the heart. It is not about love, or romance, or even personal companionship. It is a civic duty, as solemn and as non-negotiable as your duty to fight. The state is a living organism, and it is in constant need of new cells to replace the ones lost in battle. Your primary function, now that you are a finished warrior, is to breed. There is immense social pressure to marry. And to marry at the right age, a man who remains a bachelor for too long is seen as a shirker, a man failing in his fundamental duty. Bachelors are publicly shamed in Sparta. They are sometimes stripped of the respect normally due to their age. And on certain winter festivals, they are forced to march naked through the town square, singing a song about how their punishment is just because they have disobeyed the laws. You have endured too much to suffer such a fate. You will do your duty. The process of choosing a wife is, like everything in Sparta, a pragmatic affair. Your family might arrange a match with the family of a suitable young woman. The criteria are simple and biological. Is she of good Spartan stock? Is she healthy, strong, and athletic Spartan women, unlike their cloistered Athenian counterparts, are famous throughout Greece for their health and vigor. They exercise, they compete in sports, and they are raised with the same primary purpose as you, to serve the state. Her primary duty is to be a strong vessel, capable of bearing strong sons. Your duty is to provide the seed. It is a partnership, but one based on eugenics, not affection. Once a match is made, the wedding takes place, and the Spartan wedding is one of the strangest rituals in a society already filled with them. It is not a public celebration, it is a secret, nocturnal act of ritualized abduction. On the appointed night, you eat your evening meal as usual with your brothers in the Sicilian. You laugh at their laconic jokes. You participate in the talk of training and politics. You give no sign that this night is any different from the last. But after the meal, as the others are settling down, you must slip away. Your first challenge is to leave the barracks unnoticed. To be caught would be a source of immense shame, a sign of poor stealth. You move through the darkness of Sparta with the skills you learned in the Cryptia, a shadow flitting through the unlit laneways. Your bride, meanwhile, is undergoing her own strange ritual. Her bridesmaids have prepared her. They have shaved her head to the scalp. They have dressed her not in a bride's gown, but in a man's cloak and sandals, the same simple garments you wear. She is then left alone in a dark, windowless room, lying on a simple pallet on the floor. Your task is to find the correct house, enter it silently, and capture your bride. You find her in the darkness, this strange figure with a shorn head and a man's cloak. You spend a short time with her, consummating the marriage not in a celebratory bed, but in a clandestine, almost furtive encounter in the dark. Your union is an act of stealth, not a public joy. And then you must leave. Your duty to your new wife is complete for the night. Your primary duty, to your messmates in the barracks, remains. You must sneak back and be in your place among the other sleeping soldiers before dawn, as if nothing has happened. This is your wedding. It's a fun capture the bride game. You have to sneak out of your barracks, abduct her, and be back before your prefect notices you're gone. It's a very romantic start to a life of living separately. This bizarre ritual sets the tone for the next decade of your life, from the age of 20 until you are 30. You are a married bachelor. You are a husband, but you do not live with your wife. You do not have a home of your own. You continue to live, eat, sleep, and train with the men of your Sicilian. The barracks are your home. The men of your mess are your family. Your wife is a secret you visit in the night. Your family life, such as it is, consists of these clandestine visits a few times a month. You slip away from the barracks, a shadow moving through the night. To spend a few hours with your wife, you must never be caught. It is a strange existence. Like being an illicit lover in your own marriage, historians and sociologists debate the purpose and effect of this strange system. Did it, as many believe, serve the state's primary interest to keep you from growing soft, to prevent the comforts of domestic life from dulling your warrior's edge by keeping you in the barracks? Your primary bond and loyalty remained with your brothers in arms, the men you would have to trust with your life in the phalanx. Or did this clandestine system, as some have argued, have the opposite effect, making the brief, stolen moments with your wife all the more intense and romantic? The lack of any personal Spartan records, of letters or diaries, means we can never truly know the emotional texture of these secret marriages. We only know the brutal. Public purpose, your loyalty was to Sparta first, last, and always, in time. Your wife conceives. This is a moment of quiet triumph. You are fulfilling your duty. You are a success. If she gives birth to a daughter, it is a good thing. The girl will be raised by her mother to be a strong, outspoken Spartan woman, a worthy mother of future warriors. But the great hope is for a son, and one day, a son is born. When you are brought the news, you feel a surge of pride you have never known before. You have created a new soldier for Sparta, but your pride is tinged with a cold, grim knowledge. You look at your infant son, and you know his fate is already sealed. You know that for 7 short years, he will be yours, and then he will be taken. Just as you were taken, he will be thrown into the brutal, unforgiving machine of the Agog. The entire cycle of pain, hunger, and discipline will begin for him, and there is nothing you can do about it. It is the Spartan way, and what if the child is not perfect? What if your son is born with a club foot, or a sickly constitution? Then you must relive the first and most terrible test of your own life, but this time, from the other side, you must be the one to pick up your own child, your own flesh and blood. You must be the one to carry him to the lesh to be judged by the elders. And if they give the fatal nod, you must be the one to walk the long, lonely path to the foothills of Mount Tegetos. You must be the one to leave your own child in that dark, cold chasm, to turn your back and walk away, proving in the most gut-wrenching way imaginable that your ultimate loyalty is not to your own blood, but to the cold, hard logic of the state. But your son is strong. He passes the inspection. You are granted your 7 years with him. You are a proud husband and father. You see your wife by sneaking out at night, and you will see your son for the first 7 years of his life before he's taken to a government-run boarding school of institutionalized misery. It's the Spartan dream. The years pass. You are approaching 30. You are a veteran warrior, a respected member of your mess, a father. You have done everything the state has asked of you. Finally, you reach the last great milestone of your formal education. At the age of 30, you are at last released from the barracks. You are finally allowed to live in your own home with your wife and family. You are a full citizen, a complete man. Your education is over, but you have spent a lifetime being forged into a weapon for the state. You have no knowledge of farming, of commerce, of anything beyond the barracks and the battlefield. And now, you must learn to navigate a new, strange, and unfamiliar world, the world of a private life. You are 30 years old. The state has declared your education complete. You are released from the barracks and are, for the first time since you were 7, allowed to live in your own home with your wife. This new world of domesticity is, in its own way, as alien and as challenging as any foreign country. Your home is simple, provided by the state, but it is quiet. The silence is unnerving after a lifetime spent in the constant noise and motion of the barracks. You are alone with your wife, a woman you have known only through hurried, clandestine meetings in the dark. You are now expected to be a husband, a partner, but you do not know how. You have been trained to be a comrade, a competitor, a soldier. You do not know the language of domesticity, the small negotiations and shared intimacies of a life lived together. Your wife, a strong Spartan woman, runs the household with a brisk efficiency. You are a stranger in your own home, an awkward guest at your own family table. You have a rich and complex inner emotional life. It consists of 2 primary emotions: loyalty to Sparta and a quiet contempt for everyone who isn't from Sparta. Your primary life remains outside the home. Every evening, you leave your wife and children and walk to your secession. Your mess hall. This is where you are truly comfortable. Here, in the company of the 15 men who are your brothers. The world makes sense. You sit on the familiar wooden benches. You eat the familiar food. You engage in the familiar sharp, laconic banter. You speak of war, of politics, of the training of the young boys. This is your family. This is your home. Your house is merely where you sleep. The years turn. Your life is one of discipline and duty. Your days are spent on the training field, endlessly practicing the drills of the phalanx, keeping your body a perfect weapon. You go to war when Sparta calls, marching out with your brothers, your shield locked with theirs. You fight with a cold, disciplined fury, without fear of death, because you have been taught since birth that a beautiful death in battle is the highest honor a Spartan can achieve. You watch your own children grow, and the great brutal cycle that created you begins again. The son that you have raised for 7 years, the boy you may have come to feel a flicker of paternal love for, is taken from you. You are now the father, leading your own child to the barracks of the Agag. You look into his terrified 7-year-old eyes, and you see yourself. But you do not show emotion. You cannot. The system has trained it out of you. You tell him to be brave. You tell him to bring honor to his family and to Sparta. You turn your back and walk away, leaving him to the whips of the Irenes. Just as your father left you, you are now a willing, active participant in the perpetuation of the machine. You take your place among the adult citizens, the men who watch the boys in their training. You go to the gymnasium to observe their wrestling matches. You stand at the altar of Artemis Orthia and you watch them, their backs bloody, as they try to steal the cheeses. You look for the boys who do not cry out, the boys who show the most spirit, the most endurance. You have become one of the judges, one of the impassive, critical faces in the crowd. Was the system a success? Did it achieve its goal by every Spartan measure? Yes, the education you endured, as brutal as it was, created the most dominant land army in Greece for nearly 2 centuries. The Spartan phalanx was seen as nearly invincible, a reputation built on the absolute discipline, cohesion, and shared sacrifice of men like you. But it came at a cost. Your education has made you the perfect soldier, but an incomplete man. When Spartan armies triumph and you are sent to govern another Greek city, you are famously inept. You are arrogant, inflexible, unable to comprehend the complexities of diplomacy or the nuances of a society not built on the whip and the sword. You have been trained for a single, specific function, and outside of that rigid context, you are lost. Your contempt for non-Spartans, whom you view as soft and decadent, makes you a terrible ruler. Your relationship with wealth is another strange byproduct of your education. You were raised in a system that officially despised money. You were forbidden to own gold or silver, forced to use Sparta's famously cumbersome iron rods as currency to discourage trade and luxury. But this lack of experience with real wealth makes you, and your fellow Spartans, famously susceptible to bribes and corruption when you are campaigning abroad. You have no ingrained defense against the temptations of gold, a substance you have been taught is worthless, but which you discover has immense power outside your narrow valley. Historians will debate for centuries whether the Spartan system was ultimately a success or a failure. Did its extreme rigidity and focus on military matters alone lead to its eventual decline? Did its brutal treatment of the helots create a permanent state of internal rot? Did its demographic policies, which caused the number of full Spartan citizens to constantly shrink, sow the seeds of its own destruction? These are questions for another time. Your reality is simpler. You grow old. You have served in a dozen campaigns. You have seen Athens fall and Thebes rise. You have killed more men than you can count. You have watched your friends and your brothers die beside you in the shield wall. Your body is a lattice of old wounds. You are now a man of 60. Your hair gray. You are no longer on the front lines. You have earned your place on the Gerousia, the Council of Elders. You are now the one who inspects the newborn infants by the lesh. You are the one who looks for flaws, who decides which babies are worthy of living the life you have lived. One day, you sit with the other elders, watching the annual ritual at the altar of Artemis Orthia. You watch the teenage boys, their faces masks of grim determination as they charge through the gauntlet of whips. You see one boy in particular. He is small, but he is fierce. He endures a terrible lashing, his back a bloody ruin, but he does not cry out. He manages to snatch a cheese from the altar before he finally collapses, and you feel a surge of fierce, uncompromising pride. You recognize the boy? He is your grandson. The system works. The pain is necessary. The brutality is justified. The chain is unbroken. You are the perfect soldier, the perfect citizen of the perfect state. You are a man who has had his individuality, his softness, his very self, burned away, leaving only a hard, polished loyalty to Sparta. You are the final product, and you are magnificent, and you are broken, and there. With the old Spartan watching his grandson endure the same pain that shaped him, we leave the ancient world behind. Let the image of the stoic, scarred warrior, and the harsh, sun-baked valley of Sparta begin to soften and fade from your mind. The sounds of the whips, the chants of the young boys, the clash of bronze shields, let them all recede into the quiet distance of the past. The story is over. Bring your awareness back to the gentle peace of your own room. Feel the simple, profound luxury of your bed, a comfort unimaginable to the boy who slept on a bed of sharp reeds. Feel the warmth of your blanket, a gentle, secure weight, not the single. Thin cloak against a winter's night. You're safe, you're comfortable, and you are free. Free to think your own thoughts, to feel your own feelings without judgment or punishment. Let the rhythm of your own breathing be your anchor to this present moment of peace. A slow breath in, and a long, soft breath out. With each breath, let go of the tension of the story. Let go of the discipline, the hardship, the pain. They are just echoes now. They cannot touch you here. Your day is done, and you have earned your rest. There are no more trials to endure, no more tests to pass. There is only the deep, welcoming stillness of the night and the promise of a peaceful, restorative sleep. Allow yourself to sink into that quiet, to let your mind become still and to drift away.